We're going to go through a barbell Zercher squat, PAILS and rails. So for the Zercher setup, I'm going to be in the bottom of squat position. I'm going to have my spine biased into flexion, but I'm going to set my arms underneath this bar to lock myself in. So with the Zercher setup, essentially the barbell is resting at the fold of my elbows. What I do with my hands is entirely up to me. I can be in this position, I can brace my hands together, whatever I feel is going to be comfortable for this exercise, I'll go with. Now, there's a few modifications you can also make in terms of setting up. So if I had difficulty getting into the bottom of a deep squat, a couple of things I could do is elevate the barbell on a few more plates. I could slide a few plates underneath here, get this a bit higher up. I could also, and this could be in combination, elevate my heels. This will allow me to get the knees forwards a little bit more, and it will essentially allow me to sit a little deeper into the squat position. What I want to do is make sure that I can get down here, be comfortable into a passive stretch, and feel like I can spend a bit of time here. So if you feel you need to adjust the height of the barbell, elevate the heels to get down here and be comfortable in this setup, then by all means do so. Once we're set up, we're going to hold the passive stretch for a couple of minutes. After those couple of minutes, the PAILS contraction will be, once again, it's spinal focus, so I want the intention to be to try and extend through the spine. So you're going to be in this flexed position, and what you're going to try and do for the PAILS contraction is to try and promote spinal extension. So we're going to think about contracting everything on our back that will allow us to move from this position to this position without actually moving. So it's going to be an isometric where there's no movement involved. We'll build that effort up, and then the opposite contraction, the rails contraction, is to try to flex more, so try to round our ceiling more to this, round our spine more to the ceiling, try to draw the stomach in, try to even think posteriorly pelvic tilt to try and drop this down, lift the front of the pelvis to keep length on our spine. So I'm going to run through a demonstration round. I'll get into my position, set my arms up in a position that feels good for me, and then I'm here and I'm just working on the breath. So I'm holding a passive stretch, focusing on slow breath in and then slow relaxed breath out. Assuming we've held here for 2 minutes now, we're going to start to build the PAILS contraction. So I start to take a good brace, I solidify, and then I think at 20%, I'm trying to lift this barbell from extension of the spine. So I'm thinking to contract all the spinal muscles from top to bottom of my back. That will allow me to try to lift this barbell up without actually moving, just at 20%. Now build up to 40. As you build up, start to pay attention to how things feel, how the capacity of the connective tissues along the spine feel. Build up to 60. And then it's about determining where you stop on the PAILS contraction. If you feel capable, you feel like you have more capacity, build up to 80. I'm not moving, trying to create as much force at 80%. And then if I feel capable, I take it up to my safest, greatest effort. I'm holding for 20 seconds. And then after I've held for 20 seconds, the opposite, I'll try to flex the spine more to the ceiling, round the spine, try to open up the space between the vertebrae, try to posteriorly tilt the pelvis. I drop the back of the pelvis. I intentionally trying to hold that stretched position, trying to hold spinal flexion, trying to promote more spinal flexion. I'm trying to open up the space between the vertebrae as best as I can, and I'm holding that also for 20 seconds. And then afterwards, I begin to soften, and I try to sink a little deeper into my passive stretch. And then I revisit the breath. And then depending on the intent of the exercise, You may want to stay there for a second round. So just to recap, the intent with this exercise is to bias our spine into as much flexion as possible. So we're looking to try and create as much of an opening from the vertebrae, ideally looking for a stretch sensation along our back. You can play with the height of the barbell, so we can set the barbell slightly higher if you feel you're a little limited getting down into a deep squat. You can also play with elevating the heels to see how it feels to get down into this position. Essentially, we want to get down here, we want to be comfortable, but we also want to feel flexion. We want to feel the connective tissues on our spine being lengthened for this particular exercise.